Griffin Blackhorn was peeing from his wiener. The bullies at school did a jump scare on him in the bathroom, just as he was about to go to the toilet, but they got to him first and he had to pee so bad that it just came out when they scared him. He also pooped a little bit, so there's some brown stains in the back part of his underwear. Also, the bullies used their superpowers to steal Griffin's girlfriend, so now she's with them and not with him because their superpowers give them a lot of muscles, and she's also has a superpower. It's that she's really hot, so Griffin wants her back, but he doesn't have any superpowers. And also he did pee and poop in his pants just now, so he has to go home and change his clothes. But the teachers are still giving him a detention for leaving school early because they don't understand him, because he's the only one actually in school that doesn't have superpowers. But what they don't know is that he's a werewolf. Download my werewolf catalog. Have you heard of My Vampire System?
Like your personal vampire system?
No. It's a thing called My Vampire System. Not my. I don't have a vampire system.
I wasn't sure what that meant in the Google Doc. So no, I guess I don't.
Okay. So I don't really know what it is, but okay. I would say 9 times out of 10, like literally I will get for the same thing multiple times on one video. 9 times out of 10 my ads on YouTube are for this thing called My Vampire System, and it's like a clearly, it's not trying to like hide it or anything. I don't think it's trying to trick anyone, but it's like clearly like AI generated sort of thing. Like there's like the images with like people like almost like GIFs where they're like images, but they're moving sort of AI.
Is this like a freemium game?
I thought it was a game, but no, I think it's just like a store. I think it's either a comic or a novel. Yeah, dude, I've Googled it and I have come up with a bunch of different things. I have not. I was like, I got curious enough to be like, not to actually read it or whatever, but I'm like, but what is this? What's the origin? Because then I'm looking at this like, yeah, you Google it and it's My Vampire System, and it's like I'm just reading the overview on Google. It says the human race is at war with the vicious Dalki, and when they needed help more than ever, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, but this is not what I'm seeing. That's not what I see on YouTube. My favorite one that starts is, so it's images that you can extrapolate are like depicting scenes from the book, and then a narrator like dramatically reading it with like dramatic
sure.
Yeah. But it's wild, and I think the reason that it has become the majority of my YouTube ads is because I watch almost all of it almost every time. And so I'm like, I'm like aware that I'm curating this so that my ads are just My Vampire System, and I'll take it over like all the other shit.
Are they so it's like clearly AI generated images and scenarios? Do you think that this is like associated with the My Vampire System? Like, do you think that they're like, oh, we're a small publication, we don't really have the budget to do like content, like making animated content to advertise? So, or do you think that this is something completely unrelated? Because the thing that I'm looking at basically looks like some sort of like, and no disrespect to whoever it is that makes it, it looks like young adult slop. It looks like
it's gotta be like that's what it seems like it's emulating. That's what the general vibe of it.
Like the cover has like the dude with like part of his face. It almost looks like
I don't know who that's supposed to be. That's not Quintalon. That's not the lead character that I see featured in all the ads.
His name, Quintalon. He looks like Corpse Husband. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, the really deep voice guy.
Yeah, it looks like a ripoff of that.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I've had YouTube Premium for like 2 or 3 years now, so like I don't see YouTube ads, and now I'm kind of jealous
take it off
that
I
kind of want to do that. I kind of want to like, because like, yeah, having not had ads on YouTube in the years that like AI has been sort of like becoming inescapable, I feel like I am missing out on some primo like AI generated ads. I mean,
yeah,
the Everything app shows a lot of like basically like thinly veiled AI hentai games. Like I get ads for that. The bar has been so lowered on Twitter X that it's like every ad is because like anyone, and you can like buy a blue check and you can make an ad and you can just blast it out to everybody for everyone to see. Yeah. And a lot of the times it's like, thinly veiled AI sex games. But then also like, I feel like I get a lot of ads that are basically just gang stalking victims, and they post paragraphs about how they're being like censored by the US government. And it just is like, it's like a sponsored post. It has a little ad in the corner, and I'm like, this is great. This is so awesome. Pepsi used to be on this website. Like there used to be like McDonald's ads, and now it's like AI generated impossible women and schizophrenic people.
Well, maybe my vampire system will eventually make its way over there. Then. I don't know. Okay, I did find a page for. I decided I searched my vampire system Quinn, and I guess that is supposed to be him. I don't know. I mean, he's got the same general look, I guess, but he doesn't. I don't know why he's got like the weird mask and stuff on it. I don't know. They didn't go that deep into it in the ads, I guess. But
there's a TV miniseries.
Apparently, yeah. But then like, is that just like the AI images like strung together? I don't know. Because even on this the like fandom wiki page for him, it'll have like any old wiki page where it'll have like image reference, and it'll be like this thing, this person in the story, blah blah blah. But every image they have is watermarked with like the stuff that you see like on the ads. So it's like the same like overlay shit that are on like the YouTube ads for it. So I'm like, so does this exist outside of these ads, or is it a purely like, is that all it is? I don't know. There's all these other characters. I'm not sure. I only know.
So what are they advertising?
Like,
is
Quinn
it the book?
And his girlfriend, I guess. Maybe some of them. There's some great names in this though. There's Peter Chuck, Leo Suyan, Fex Sanguinus, Paul Snealert.
What's Todd Gonzalez?
Yeah.
Steve McDykel,
Vorden Blade, and Syl Blade.
We're veering into like Thomas Pynchon like naming conventions.
Yeah.
I'm reading Vineland right now, and the lead character's name is Zoid, like Zoyd. But it's like I've never finished the Thomas Pynchon novel, but I've like skimmed some of the other ones, and like all of his characters have that type of naming convention. And he's like in his 80s now. I don't know. It's very funny, like an old dude writing a character named Zoid.
Yeah. My favorite, probably the one that first got me to like, because it's very possible that I had like seen some, but just like wasn't, their ads. I'm not really paying attention, but I think the one that roped me in is just how insane they are and how quickly they ramp up the insanity. Because one, I almost know it, but it's more or less, it starts with Quinn's butt was bleeding from the way the bullies pushed him onto the ground. He scraped his pants so that there was a hole in them, and all the bullies were laughing at him. They used their superpowers to push him around. It's like, what the fuck?
And is it like the AI voice too? That's like his butt was bleeding. Like,
nah, it's a little better than that, but yeah, I mean, yes, it's clearly still an AI voice. Yeah.
It makes me wonder if they use the word butt in the first 5 seconds, that's the hook. That it catches you off guard, and you're like, oh, you're talking about this guy's butt?
Yeah.
I just assume that everything is market researched like that, and they're like, well, people usually swipe away from the video after 5 seconds, so you got to get him in first 5 seconds. So you got to reference his butt.
Yeah. That is it, yeah.
I thought you were gonna talk to me about how you weighed different vampires. It's you got Blade, you got Nosferatu,
system.
yeah. Because Sinners just came out, so I was like, oh, okay, a little tie-in.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
Irish vampires.
Yeah, no, I guess I still need to do some digging, because even Reddit posts are it's just what people will talk about it, they read it, but it's they're not reading it. So I'm is this just some big ARG or something where there isn't actually an actual thing, but it's the ARG is pretending there's a fandom around this thing? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's all engagement farming.
Yeah. Do
we have enough subscribers to get ads? We're not. This channel isn't monetized.
Oh man. No, I should just put. I'll just clip one and just put it at the start of this episode, though.
Yeah, there we go.
Free advertisement, I guess.
For a book that may or may not exist. For an audience that may or may not exist.
Yeah. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of ThereWillBeDuds. This is episode 181, and I am your
180.
180. Oh shoot! I swore last one was 180. Fuck. Okay, 180. I am your co-host, TJ, and with me as always,
I am Nick.
And as always, we watched a movie. That movie, thankfully, not being a dud. Oh my god, it was so nice to just watch a movie this week.
Yup.
And that movie is a movie from 1980. Fuck, I forgot. I'm out of it. That's the sesquicentennial. I know that. I just didn't know if it was the same year. It is, yeah. Okay. Movie from 1986, directed by David Byrne. True Stories. It is a kind of loose movie. You follow the character played by David Byrne, who's just credited as the narrator, as he goes around the town of Virgil, Texas, which is about to celebrate its 150th anniversary. And he kind of just talks about the town, talks about the people in the town, and then you just kind of watch the people do stuff. It's a very just kind of look at these people, look at this community sort of thing. There's not a lot of story other than there's the build up to the big celebration, talent show, but then it just kind of happens and then the movie ends. So it's really just kind of a cozy movie
slice
sort of thing.
Life, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It's written, directed by the frontman for the Talking Heads. Only one he did. It's just a shame, because I thought there's a lot of neat stuff to this. A lot of neat, just I was surprised at his his deftness with directing. There's a lot of interesting obviously the writing, this feels very the way that he talks about things is very Talking Heads lyrics. Or I'm also thinking of the concert movie American Utopia from a few years ago. That's broken up by a lot of these sections of him just speaking to the audience, And it felt very similar of just like, this is how I view this aspect of life.
Right.
So that feels very him, but I was really surprised. It's just like the overall, like I thought the direction was really good for somebody who doesn't do that normally, you know?
Yeah. It's, there was like a Twitter prompt that was going around like a couple weeks ago, and it was like, name a director who like only did one movie. And you got a lot of Charles Lawton with Night of the Hunter.
Yep. that's my other thought, yeah.
People posted this one quite a bit and posted some screenshots. And it is. I was very amazed at how like well it was directed, and like it feels so like how do I put this? Like it's one of those movies that like feels very subtly influential on probably a lot of like maybe like younger directors like at that time. It feels like almost like Coen Brothers-esque, but like a little. I'm thinking like this seems like it exists in the same universe as like Raising Arizona, and maybe it's because John Goodman is in both of those movies, but it has that. It feels like Coen Brothers meets like Pee-wee's Playhouse or like Pee-wee's Big Adventure meets like Wim Wenders. Like it kind of has all three of those things combined.
Man, I was thinking. I hadn't thought Pee Wee Herman, but I did like Coen Brothers and Paris, Texas, both kind of popped into my head here and there.
The reds and the greens, like I was watching this before Chloe got home from work, and like she was in the kitchen doing stuff for dinner, and she came out, and like even just walking by was like, the colors in this movie are gorgeous, and I was like, yeah, I think she came in right near the tail end during like the talent show scene. So like you had the big green like frame lit spot, and it's like of course he's like he's a performer like in a band, so he knows how to like set that up.
Sure,
and I think he had experience with Stop Making Sense, so he knew how to shoot a little bit like
and stage
how that worked.
Show like that,
But in terms of content too, it sort of reminded me of Coen Brothers a lot because these all seem like characters in like a Coen Brothers story, because I think that's one thing that they're sort of known for is like these very colorful side characters that aren't, central to the plot, but really like color the world that like the story takes place in. And I thought like all of these like little side characters were very fun. I enjoyed like the lying woman who was constantly talking about like, I was in Vietnam and I was with the actual Rambo, and I saved him. Now, if you really want to know, or convince, she's like, oh yeah, Burt Reynolds was trying to date me or something. Like she always makes herself like either the hero or the object of desire of someone that is like way out of like either out of her league or out of her like financial like status.
Yeah. Like that, she's to blame for John F. Kennedy's assassination because he was in Texas to see her or something like that.
Yeah,
that was good. I'll say another movie that I thought of probably more than any else, which I know you haven't seen, but I feel like even people who've seen this require an explanation, but I kept thinking of the Katsi movies, like I think I told you about like Koyaanis Katsi. With like certain segments, like I thought of it immediately, like with the opening where he's talking about like the dinosaurs and like, oh, all this was here before this, and now it's Virgil, Texas, and like the music there is a lot of the times the music just sounds like Talking Heads, but there's a couple tracks, and I'd say like that one, there's one that happens kind of like near the middle and then near the end, where it's got that sort of like Philip Glassy, like minimalistic style, and then
sort of like repetitive, like
that paired with like just shots of like things moving, like when it transitions from his like narration into the factory and it just going down the line, like the conveyor belt, like following those like microprocessors, that shot like could be in one of the Kotze movies. Like
really,
and there were certain shots like that felt just very much like that. And then like the coloring too. It's a very like cool. It's I don't know. It's not like just those two movies have it, but I was just comparing it with that one. But that is a look that I really, really dig that is exclusively or primarily, I think, in like 80s movies. It's this like saturated, desaturated look. It's like they hypersaturate colors to make it, so this is a green shot, this is a red shot, but then they just kind of take down the overall, like maybe they lower the contrast or they lower I think they up the contrast, but then it's just like they lower, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Because there is still like a drabness to the look, and yet it's all very colorful and distinct looking.
Yeah. Like when it's outside, it looks like the desert. So like it's hard to make the desert vibrant. But I guess the contradiction between like the desert and then like the blue sky or whatever, it's like heightened, I guess.
Something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't exactly know how to explain it, but I don't know. See the Kotze movies and you'll see a lot of the same thing.
Yeah. My first note is David is not beating the autistic allegations. he's like like you referenced that beginning portion where he's talking, basically doing like the beginning of life on Earth to talk about a town in Texas, but he's just like, as a kid, I loved dinosaurs, and I was like, I bet you did, David. I bet you did. But yeah, I think I didn't know going into it that there was going to be a satirical edge, but I think the first little inkling of that was when he's talking about like the history of Texas, and it's just like, and then the Indians did this, and then the Comanche fought everybody, and I was like, I know a little bit about that, and I'm like, yeah, they did. But then it's like he's talking about industry, and he's just like, and then they found oil, and then the computer chip, and he's just like talking about it being turned into like Silicon Valley and like this tech utopia shit, where it was like it wasn't like overtly sarcastic, but I was like, oh, that's kind of. There's a little tongue in cheekness there. Yeah. Which like that exists throughout the whole movie. I think it's one of the things that I really, really liked about it was that this is like simultaneously a satire, but also a sort of love letter to like upper middle class, like tech utopianism from like the sort of like liberal end of history. Like we're all middle class, we all live in the suburbs, and we all have good jobs at the factory making computer chips because technology is the future and life is going to be good forever. Like that sort of like I would almost say naive optimism that like really showed up in like I guess like the Clinton era was when that sort of like end of history stuff like really was a thing. But like it's clear that like David Byrne is like sort of poking fun at that, especially like the shopping mall is like shopping is a feeling. Like he's like kind of poking fun at consumerism. And yet I like see these colorful, vibrant malls, and I'm like, I remember when malls were cool when I was like a kid in like the mid to late 90s. I remember going, like that used to be a thing that I looked forward to with my parents. And like malls had like fountains, and they had, everything was like very colorful and vibrant, and it smelled like the food court and like pretzels and all that shit.
Pretzels.
And
that's
I'm
what I
like,
was thinking of,
it's like I'm nostalgic for consumerism, but there's like something, it's more than just consuming. It was like a vibe, if you will.
Yeah, he's great. He's so great at those, just like, those really good like turns of phrases. Just very succinct, just kind of blunt statements that are, kind of simultaneously like poking fun at something, but also like in a like affectionate way almost.
Yes.
Like it doesn't feel like he's talking down on any of this stuff, even though it is like a little bit satirical. It feels like everything comes from like a place of love, whatever.
Yeah, he's like an outsider in this town, but he's like fascinated by every person that he talks to, and he he likes everyone that he talks to.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
There's a moment I think that kind of perfectly encapsulates this in the movie, where he's walking through the mall by himself, and then he stops, and the movie cuts away to these two guys like reading out of the newspaper, and they're like laughing at something really dumb. It's like, oh, this guy falls and breaks his legs, or it's something really like childish, and they're like laughing really hard at it, and it stays on them for a little bit, and then it cuts back to David Byrne. He just like is watching them, and he just kind of like laughs to himself, and I think that's like, he doesn't really get why they're laughing, but he's just like enjoying that somebody is happy. That's kind of the vibe that I get from that, and it's really really sweet. He's like I'm it's funny because right before I watched this today, I watched I got caught up on The Rehearsal, so I watched the 2 episodes from the new season. And have you watched them yet?
We just watched the 2nd episode of The Rehearsal before I hopped on this call. Okay.
And he's I like watch going from that to this, there's a lot of like interesting parallels you can draw with the two like kind of autistic guys. Like you said, questionably autistic guys, like basically everything that Nathan does is like this, but you know, the most recent episode of The Rehearsal is like where they're doing the Canadian Idol and rating the judges and stuff, and he's like doing all these things to try to get a better score. Because like he's like, well, I'm doing the same things that this person that everybody likes this one judge, and they're giving her really high scores, so I'm going to copy her and do everything she does, yet I'm still getting a bad score. And he's trying to like manufacture
sincerity, like authenticity, like
it's like David Byrne is the opposite of that. He's like the good autistic, and Nathan is the dark autistic. They're like they're kind of two sides of the same coin, because a lot of their commentary in their art is like, I love the way that both of these guys, it's why I watch everything that Nathan does, and why I love consuming more and more of like David Byrne's older stuff that I've never gotten to. Is like they just have such a unique perspective on humanity. And it's like Nathan is a bit more pessimistic, because I think he's looking inward, and he's trying to like understand the things and how he affects things or whatever. Whereas David Byrne is more positive, because I think he recognizes himself as just like an observer of humanity. Like, I think these two guys are kind of like in the same zone, where they kind of view themselves as like separate, but David Byrne is less concerned. He's just like, I'm just going to kind of let it be. And I love them both for both of those reasons, you know.
It's like David knows that he's an outsider and is like okay with that, has come to accept it.
That's kind of what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, Nathan, all of his stuff inevitably revolves around him trying to like connect with a person, or like find connection with humanity. Sorry, we just finished that episode, and I was laughing my ass off at the end, where, spoilers for season 2, episode 2 of The Rehearsal, he gets his judge's rating, and it's a 6, and he and it holds on that shot, and then he flips it around to a 9. Just incredible. And his ability to get people to say things that like you could not torture out of me. Yeah. You could not torture out of me.
You talking about the pilot?
the guy that admits that he like has been banned from every dating app and Instagram. And I think that's another one of those.
I don't know why.
And I feel like it's another moment because like Nathan has these moments every once in a while where he will be genuinely like taken aback by something that he was not expecting to hear, like, but he's so good at playing it cool that he just like he basically silently hands them the shovel and lets them dig the hole even further.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, I tried, and then like it just, you picture this guy's life and it gets more and more pathetic when he's like saying, oh yeah, I even tried to sign up for Instagram with like my mom's email and like they must know and they wouldn't let me do it. Yeah. And he's just like, and you don't know why you're banned? And he's just like, oh, I have no idea why. And it's like, no, you know why.
Yeah, because then like right away when he's alone with the co-pilot lady, he's like not hitting on her, but he's like, oh, aren't you dating? Oh, why aren't you dating? Oh, you're sure you're
like
not gonna have kids?
Incredibly invasive, like personal relationship questions.
Yeah.
Anyway, David Byrne is the opposite of that dude.
Yeah. I think they I guess I was saying I think they have like similar sort of perspectives on, or like in commentary on humanity, but it's like Nathan kind of, his whole thing is that he's yearning for a connection that he can't get. Wait, did I say David? I meant Nathan, if I didn't say that. So he tries to like manufacture, but I think David is like kind of different, where it's just he doesn't need, he gets enjoyment out of what he gets, even if it's not like a,
he's like transcended that need for it.
Yeah. To where even like in this movie, he's just credited as the narrator, and it's like I found myself like wondering that like kind of near the end, I was like he's the only guy that doesn't have like a thick Texan accent. You see him driving around the town the whole time. So I'm like, I wonder what he's supposed to be in this. Because it's like, at first, it's like, oh, he's just, not that he couldn't just be a guy that moved there, obviously. But right. I almost feel like he's intentionally different than everyone else, because I don't know if he's supposed to necessarily be a citizen of this town, but he's just kind of like there because he's the narrator.
Right. Yeah, I pictured him as just like a guy like passing through almost. I mean, that's he's like, there's like that one.
But he's
part
like really good friends with like John Goodman, and like he knows all the people. That's the weird kind of like crossover.
Yeah, he's like a traveler, but he's also almost like omnipotent, or just like he's like
just like some deity.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, and God, I love that scene near the end where him and John Goodman are essentially wearing like the exact same thing. Like either they're wearing like a flannel with like a little bolo tie, and then like a green like blazer. Mm-hmm. And I think he even comments on it. He's like, oh yeah, I like that shirt. And it's like they're wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
The pastor. Okay.
Yeah, that was a cool scene.
I was listening to this dude talk, and I was like, this guy's kind of based, because I think it's like this weird thing where I think it's supposed to be like taken as just like he's a kooky conspiracy theorist type guy, and I feel like he was talking about like the CIA infiltrating like television corporations and shit, and I'm like, that's. The FBI using like TV as a tool of mass media control. I was like, I'm kind of drinking what he's putting in the bottle there. But like that song, like all the songs I thought were like pretty great.
Yeah. I mean, classic. Talking Heads. I liked all the. I didn't recognize all of. I recognized like half of them. Obviously the ones that like City of Dreams and Wild Wild Life, like the ones that they actually played, and then I knew that one too, that the priest guy sang, but then there was like the one I couldn't tell, the one that the lady was singing at the like fashion show or whatever, but I'm assuming because I know the other ones are. I was assuming they were all ones that were just on their album, because they like made an album called True Stories, right? But yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the song Radiohead.
Oh yeah, Radiohead. Yeah, that's on there too. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how like it like opens with that's like the first scene outside of David Byrne's narration. It's like it's that guy doing his like Radiohead bit, and I was like, here it is. Yeah, I was gonna say something about this song. Oh yeah, when you get to, I think the first, it was kind of, I don't want to say like jarring, but it goes a while and it's just like a normal narrative, and then you get they're like at the bar or the club or whatever, and then they do Wildlife, and there's all the people like limp syncing, and I was like, oh, they do like the whole song. So, and then it kind of it's like an intermittent musical, like because I feel like there's like that's the first one, and it's like 20 minutes into the movie, and then they'll go a little bit, and then there was like 2 or 3 songs like back to back, so it's they just kind of go where they feel like it. But when they were doing that one, because that was the first one, one of the first things I thought was like, man, this is like so much better than Yellow Teeth, like being having to like sit through an entire song in a movie. It's much that's the band from Going Overboard.
Oh God, I had purged that from my memory
because that was the last one that we watched where you had to sit through entire songs. Like, I mean, it wasn't just Yellow Teeth, but there was like multiple like montages in that movie where it would just play like full songs,
a 3.5 minute song.
Yeah,
just really padding the time out.
Yeah, but this was good songs and just like way like more interesting. I mean, I don't think it's that hard to be more interesting than Going Overboard, but good fun stuff. I was thinking how like how that section where they did that song at the club was like, it was just basically shots of people lip syncing, and then it'll like cut to some people reacting, but it was just fun. There's just so much energy to that song, and like everybody's coming in, and I wonder, I feel like the direction there was just kind of like, he was probably just like, just do whatever you want. Cause there were some people, like everybody was kind of just interpreting it their own way. I feel like there was like 1 or 2 guys that were, trying to do David Byrne, like the way that they were moving. I mean, kind of, that's what John Goodman was doing.
Oh yeah.
And then you got to see the band too. Cause the rest of the people all
Tina
popped up there. Yeah. Chris and, Jerry were there too.
I had such a strong reaction to this movie, and I'm like struggling to be like and then
I think it is because it's just so like disjointed. It's maybe it's like Going Overboard in that sense too, where there's it's just kind of like all these little like anecdotes where you're just kind of like, here's this person doing a thing. Like, I guess the main through line, if there is one, is like John Goodman's like dating adventures.
Yes. And I loved that it Virgil, Texas, which, sorry, I also have to say Virgil, Texas is the name of one of the former co-hosts of Chapo Trap House, who
who
just look up why he quit Twitter in 2021. I'll just say that.
Okay.
So it was jarring because like that's his alias that he used on the podcast. So I was like, oh, there's Virgil. But for a town that seems pretty like, your sort of average Texan like conservative town, I thought it was funny that John Goodman's character was just like, yeah, everybody here is just like into swinging, and I was like, is that? It's not like I feel like it's not a super common thing if you go to like any bar in like Dallas or Houston. Like, Texas is a very, I would say So I thought that was funny that he was just like, yeah, you can't find a woman who wants to settle down. They're all just into like swinging and like, one night stands or whatever.
Yeah.
But all of his stuff I thought was a lot of fun. I liked, I think you see the segment where it's like his dating profile is just like straight up on TV.
Yeah.
And is it in one of those commercials? Is it in the commercial, or is he talking to somebody when he's like talking about like his body type?
I think that's on the commercial where he's like, I'm 6'3" and I'm built like a bear.
I'm looking for someone who can accept me for what I am. I'm 6 foot, 3 inches tall, and maintain a very consistent panda bear shape.
Yes, Lewis is a body positive king. I too am in a consistent panda bear shape. And you look at John Goodman in that movie, and like he's pretty svelte, I would say. He doesn't,
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why he has such a hard time. And then
okay, so I will admit that this movie made me feel some things.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one in particular that I really liked, and it was when he's talking to, I forget who he's talking to, but he's basically talking about his performance that he's going to do on Friday.
Patty from Doug. I don't know if that was actually her, but she sounded like her.
But again, you look at this scene and like he's wearing like a robin's egg blue blazer, like a pink shirt in a house that's like pink and green and baby blue. Like they all of like the locales look like backdrop sets in like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Like it has that like very like sort of pastel color to him. But like he sings his song that's like not even like a fully finished song yet. Yeah. And she says something like, she's like, gee, that's kind of sad. And I just love this. He's like, maybe I am kind of sad. I like sad songs. They make me want to lie on the floor. And I was like, I wasn't like crying or whatever, but like when he said that, it like, I don't know. I'm like, I like sad songs too. Like, I think that's, it's like, that's like that's a human thing. Like, being sad is sometimes a good thing to have too, Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I really like the way that he said that and like that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's another good example of that good writing that like I would agree. It's like nothing made me like swell with emotion, but there's plenty of things like, I really like that line too. Or just like even stuff like the thing where David was laughing at the guys in the mall. I was like, oh, like I get it. I get what's like, I get what I find myself feeling similarly towards humanity, like regularly. Like I too feel, I don't know. I don't like self-diagnosing or anything, so I'm not going to even use any of those words or whatever because I have not been tested or anything. But I again, maybe that's why I like him and Nathan so much, is because like I feel like I can relate to those guys so much, so that like when they the way that they kind of like translate certain aspects of feelings is just it resonates so strongly with me. I also really loved the closing monologue where I don't have it exactly, but it's like he talks that got me. That did. I really nice. And then it ends and the little girl walks down the street and what is it, City of Angels, City of Dreams, like yeah. Yeah, you end a movie with that, and it's like, because they did that with what was it? Dream Scenario ends with that song too, and I was like, yes. In both cases, I was like, yes.
I really enjoy forgetting. When I first come to a place, I notice all the little details. I notice the way the sky looks, the color of white paper, the way people walk, doorknobs, everything. Then I get used to the place and I don't notice those things anymore. So only by forgetting can I see the place again as it really is.
It's so simple, like the idea that he's like, I don't know, it's plain language to like expand on like a bigger idea of just like, I don't know. Like you get used to a place, you go away, and then you come back and you're like, this is why I love this place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
There's another one.
Way to put it, like plain language, but yeah.
There's another one that I really liked, and it was one of the various like interstitial scenes of him driving around in his car. which I loved every time like his little convertible pulled up and he's doing that and he just turns and looks directly into the camera and like what is it this isn't a rental car, it's privately owned. He just drives off or whatever. But there's like a scene where he's like driving through the suburbs and like basically as he's driving by, every house is like identical. They're all identical. Yeah. They have the same like layout, same garage or whatever. And there's like one, it was like almost like a proto like American Beauty shot where there's like a newspaper like dancing in the wind. Yeah. And he's just like, look at this. Who can say it isn't beautiful? Sky, bricks. Who do you think lives here? 4-car garage. Hope, fear, excitement, satisfaction. And it's like only David Byrne could make me like feeling nostalgic and wistful for like the suburbs of Texas.
Yeah. That was one part I didn't relate to, I'll say that. that one didn't resonate with me. I was like, nah. Don't agree with that part.
I thought John Goodman's song at the end was really great. I'm surprised. I don't know. I'm sort of surprised that he like has a pretty good singing voice too.
Yeah. Yeah, the way that came together was good. I was when he does he's like singing it to the girl in her house. I was like, oh, yikes. So is it going to be bad at the end? But then no, it came together. It was nice.
Only through the power of voodoo.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like he paid the witch doctor guy to like have him find love in the very end.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then, yeah. I feel like maybe this is me just, maybe this is I feel like in like any, like a more traditional movie, it would have had Swoosie Kurtz would have like gotten out of her bed and she would have went to the talent show and then like they would have met up there and then, oh, they're out and they're married and stuff. But then no, like the next scene, he's just in the bed with her and they're like, that's where they're living now.
Yeah, it kind of sets it up that way because she does like get out of the bed.
Yeah, she does.
But it's probably like just to call him or something like that because I think
probably
he's like yeah, if you're interested, it's 1-866-wife or something.
Yeah,
like that was like the phone number. Yeah, that was another example of, I would say, maybe not the best, like the most optimistic view of humanity, but it was still like done in a loving way. Like the idea, it felt like WALL-E almost, like near the end of that movie when you see all the people floating around in like the little pods that do everything for them. She's like watching TV and she has some gizmo that's like turning the pages for her. Yeah, and I think isn't there even one where it's like is it like a spoon that's like feeding her too? Like she's like watching, she just like can't be distracted from like watching her TV.
Yeah,
which again I feel like could be like a very cynical like Americans are so lazy and obsessed with TV that like they will they'll invent all these wonderful technologies so they can like watch more commercials.
Yeah,
but it too was like done in a loving way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think like all the other stuff, I don't think it's just outright saying like the American consumerism is like dumb and bad. I really think it is just like, look at this person who does this thing. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. And knowing that like he got the Radiohead character from an actual person. I don't know if everybody is, but that totally feels like he probably heard. I could have seen him like hearing that story from somebody that like, oh yeah, there's this like rich lady who like just never gets out of bed because she like doesn't need to work and doesn't need to do anything. It totally sounds like something like that.
So, I did pick this up as a Criterion and probably one of the coolest like inserts that I've seen from anything. It's a little mini newspaper that's inside of it. Like the supplements are like a newspaper, so you open it up and it folds exactly like one, and it kind of has like headlines and all that shit. So I was reading stuff about that, but apparently some of the inspiration for this movie were actual headlines and stories that he had found while touring. And I do think some of them were like weird, sort of like the newspaper that those two guys are reading at the mall. Do you remember like the National Enquirer or like like with Bat Boy or whatever on the cover, or like Elvis Presley still alive, living in Nashville under the alias of whatever. Like I think David Byrne found a lot of like newspapers while he was traveling, because like that makes sense to me, because he was like a curious person about how people live. And like, I think you and I would kind of walk by, maybe see one of those headlines and be like, yeah, that's like another like, you know, made up story or just some dumb thing. But he's just like, oh, Bat Boy. Like, you know, there could have been a Bat Boy in this movie. He just would have been like, you know, yeah, he lives in this suburb, like, and he goes and he plays ball in the courtyard with other kids, you know?
Yeah.
But I do think some of them were like slightly based on like either news articles that he had read or, you know, something along those lines.
Yeah. Even though like the main like poster for the movie it's David Byrne with like a newspaper open and he's like reading it over. So yeah, there you go. It's right there.
Did you read the Wikipedia page about this movie?
No.
So apparently like Steven Tobolowsky, like they kind of had the idea for this movie, and I think he wrote a script. Like gave it to David Byrne, didn't hear from David Byrne for like 2 years. And then like David Byrne came back and basically had kept like maybe 2 lines from Steven Tobolowsky's original script and then written something completely different. But then apparently was like, I'm going to give you guys writing credit so this doesn't look like a vanity project for me. So I don't know. It's interesting seeing like David Byrne in this movie as like his character, but then like you kind of read a little bit about David Byrne, and I think his former bandmates have called him I think like an autistic vampire or something like that. It's like it's not the most flattering relationship that I think he has with some of his old bandmates. But it's like, it is very funny that he's just like, oh, cool script. Radiohead disappears for 2 years, comes back. It's like, look at the script that I wrote. I took your story and like axed everything but like 2 sentences. You're like, oh, okay. Like, I bet being friends with David Byrne is cool, but it's probably also challenging in some unique ways.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, yeah, and I don't think that like that means that like you know, the stuff that he kind of talks about is like fake or whatever. Yeah. I think that it's still like sincere, but honestly, I think the like all that I hear about, like stuff with like the with the band and other people he's collaborated with, that I'm like, that just kind of sounds like it lends more credence to just him being autistic and maybe just not having the best like social like awareness of like how to handle situations with people or whatever. So when he's got his vision for his art, it's like he might be a little uncompromising because he doesn't really. Yeah, but you know.
But then you look at the results and it's like, okay, well.
Yeah. We ready to move on to scores?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm between 2, but I think I'm going with a strong 7 for this one. I'm going with a strong 7.
Okay.
So could shift up on a rewatch. I was like, when the movie started and it was like the narration with him and it was like that music and stuff that I was saying, that opening few minutes, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I was like, if the whole movie is like this, I'm like, Jesus, this is so good. And then it's just like, I do like the stuff with the characters around the town and stuff. It's not that there's any moment of this that's like boring, because I still really, really liked the movie. I really like John Goodman's character and stuff, but to me the movie really sings whenever David Byrne is on camera and whenever he's talking. And then like the musical numbers I think are all pretty good too. And then just like, again, kind of like the pontificating on people stuff is what I really liked. Everything else was like an enjoyable, like definitely above average like 80s comedy movie. But yeah, that's where I'm sitting. A high 7. I really like this movie. It's pretty good.
Cool. I am feeling a pretty strong 9, bordering on 10. I was not sure like what this movie was going to be. I had heard about it. It had elements of things that I really like. I like David Byrne. I like John Goodman. I like Talking Heads. So it was like all the 3 things are like kind of there, like waiting for me. And yeah, I loved the like satirical edge to it while also being like very like warm to like the subject matter that it was, sort of satirizing. The music in it is great. The cinematography and the coloring, like it's so vibrant and so unique in how it looks. And yeah, there's so many like little vignettes that I really like. The parade scene where like the woman is just like losing her shit over babies and how cute every single baby
Yeah.
it's like there's just like so many weird oddball things. And then I don't know, I feel like what really seals the deal for me was like John Goodman performing this song and then that ending little monologue as he drives off into the sunset. I think that was like sort of when I knew that it was like something like really special. So
Sweet.
Yeah, no, this is great. And it's a tight 90, gets in, gets out, kind of tells its story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked it.
Sweet.
I got to listen to the album now. So
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah, I mostly like I kind of like stop at like Remain in Light, or no, not Remain in Light, I'm sorry. In the one before this is that like I listened to like their
Little Creatures.
Those first few. Yeah.
Little Creatures is great.
Yeah, it is.
Because that one ends with Road to Nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a fucking awesome song. I'm gonna ask, partly because we have like a few things we have for the post, but also can we put a pin in Centers because I want to see that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we can talk about another one.
Yeah.
I would have seen it, but because I assumed we were getting it at the theater, but
oh really?
Didn't. Yeah.
Here's what I'll suggest, and this will lightly be talking about Sinners, but see it in IMAX if you can. I did not, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw it at Celebration North, and we were in one of the, I guess, non-Dolby Atmos like theaters, and it sounded like 2 to 3 decibels quiet. It was really weird. Like I was like almost struggling. Like someone would be like opening a package of candy, and I was like struggling to hear the movie. It was like one of those things. So I've heard the experience in IMAX is really, really good. So I guess that would be my suggestion for that. I know it's expensive, but
for me, I got money. I just probably this Friday that's going to go to Thunderbolts though. They're going to shift the IMAX to Thunderbolts, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it before. Like I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it like this week. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that would be a cool one to see in IMAX. No, I thought we were pretty sure we were going to get it, but then they were like, well, no, it's because it came out Easter weekend, and we had 2 separate like Jesus movies that were both doing pretty well, and they were like, well, it's Easter and we want to keep them. Like, okay, all right, that makes sense. They are making it good. We're getting a decent amount of traffic for them and everything. So but then sometimes we do get movies late. We do.
Yeah.
We'll get them like a week late or something. So then we were like, oh, okay. So we dropped one of the Jesus movies. I'm like, oh, sweet. So maybe we'll get that. But no, instead we got a movie that was a week older than Sinners. That Warfare movie.
Oh, the Alex Garland one.
Yeah.
I saw some
heard a lot of
weirdly
mixed stuff.
glowing reviews from some people that I follow on
Yeah.
Letterboxd. Like people that didn't like Civil War liked Warfare.
Yeah.
I've
seen a lot of mixed stuff.
I'm curious about it. I guess maybe I'll wait till it like comes out to streaming or whatever.
I'd have to see how much.
I was a Civil War defender. I liked that movie.
Yeah, I liked most everything he's done. You know.
Yeah.
But it depends how much of this is him and how much of it is the other guy, because it's like co-written and directed by like an ex-Marine.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I'm like, okay, is this gonna be like actually like critical, like anti-war, or is it just gonna be like, yeah, I did this thing in Iraq and now I feel bad about it. I have PTSD from killing all these civilians and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's tough to like I don't know, there's a lot of discourse about what is an anti-war movie. Is it possible to make one, like, period? Like these sort of like more, I guess, philosophical questions about it. But yeah. That's I mean, I guess I can understand why that movie might show up in that theater instead of like the devil movie.
It's so fucking frustrating though, because it's like Sinners was like number 1. It beat Minecraft. I think it might be number 1 again.
It beat the Ender Dragon.
Yeah. And we still didn't get it. They gave it to like an A20. It's hard. It doesn't really seem like an A24 movie, to be fair.
Yeah.
But like we never get those. And we got it. It feels. We were kind of making the joke after we didn't get the first weekend, but now that we got Warfare instead, I'm like, it's racism. It kind of feels like racism, which is funny because that's like what Sinners is about.
Kinda, yeah.
You could probably set that in Hastings or here, and it'd be pretty much the same.
Yep.
So in lieu of that, talk about some TV shows that we watched.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start with Black Mirror for the newest season 7.
Damn.
Was really good.
I saw like you rate each one on Letterboxd. That's cool that each one kind of has its own like movie essentially.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, so it's they don't do them every year now. It's like once every few years, which I'm okay with. Just with how much media comes out, like I'm like, that's kind of how I prefer a lot of my shows now. Is just like, just every once in a while. I don't need it every year. But yeah, I think it possibly is my favorite season of the show, just overall. Yeah. The other one that I go to like in my head is like being the best is season 3, which has some really strong episodes. And I think the reason that those are the 2 is because there's no like weak episode there's weak episodes, but there's no like outright bad episodes where like every other season has at least one like pretty bad episode. Yeah, and all of them are pretty. I'm using too much generalization because there was a weak episode or 2, but most of them were pretty solid. Okay. I would say like so. There's 6 in this one, and it's like the bread is really good, but then the inside's just like because it's the first 2 episodes solid, the middle 2 episodes are the weaker ones, and then the last 2 are like some of the best episodes of the show, like period. Then trying not to like spoil stuff because I really think like there's some like I would say like even if you don't like watch the show, you should watch Eulogy and like watch the USS Callister episodes. But there's another the person that she's like talking to, because it's Kristen Milioti, another person. They're just really great acting and really good writing. just again the philosophical stuff, just like but also like the tension with like the stakes are so incredibly high at this point in the story, and also it does still fit in. Like there's all this in the first episode. There's plenty of like fucked up Black Mirror technology stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like that's all established, and then this episode goes by, and most of it goes, and you're like, well, okay, you haven't really introduced anything new. It's the any new fucked up stuff, Right. It's just the stuff from the first episode. But then you get to that like later point, and they're like explaining like this person and like why they're here and stuff, and you're like, oh, there it is. There's that fucked up shit.
Yeah, because I feel like Black Mirror, like you talk to anyone who like maybe has like a rudimentary understanding of it, they're like, oh yeah, that's the show that's like, what if cell phone was bad? Like that's sort of like most people's like understanding of it, and yeah.
Some of it can be like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I would say like the worst, like there's one from the previous season, Maisie Day. That episode is terrible, and it's basically like, paparazzi, but they're invasive and stuff, and they only care about the clicks and stuff like that. It's really dumb. But I would say more often than not, that is, there's more to them.
Right.
It makes me want to like more so than the last few seasons. I'm like, I kind of want to go back and watch the show. Like the other seasons, I'll finish the seasons, and I'll just be like, okay, all right, that was decent. I'll go back,
Yeah.
I'll watch the next season when it comes out. But this one, I'm like, I want to go back and like watch the other like good episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I would watch all of season 3 again just to see how it stacks up. If I do think that this newest one is the best or that one. Yeah, good stuff. Good show.
Yeah, I've got like 2 more weeks of unemployment, so I might add that to my list instead of like the true crime shit that I usually just watch passively.
The nice thing too is they are basically just like movies, just like short movies. You can just kind of
they typically like what, an hour 20, hour and a half.
Mostly they're like an hour or less, but the USS Callister sequel is an hour and a half. But usually they're an hour or less.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, speaking of stuff that I've been watching while I'm unemployed, other than like the true crime slop I usually watch, I've been watching Common Side Effects. Did you talk about this on the show? Have you watched it?
I don't think I did, but I did watch it actually. I just finished this recently.
Oh, okay. I have like 2 more episodes left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, you know what? Then maybe we can speak. Actually, I don't know. Maybe we can save it then, because I did want to finish it before this episode to like be able to talk about the complete show. And now that I know that you've also finished it, I might just save that for next episode, because I will be done with it like by the time we record next. So let's put a pin. I guess I'll put a pin in both of mine.
Pinners. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can talk about Sinners and then Common Side Effects.
Yeah, we just got some homework.
Yeah.
For the next one.
I wondered if you watched it, because I did read that it's like the same animation team that did Scavenger's Reign, and it's co-created by the same guy. Oh, okay. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like the animation studio or what it was.
I'm not sure. It's definitely a different art style, but I could see it being there's a lot of, we can get into it.
Yeah.
We talk about it more, but there's definitely like all the like psychedelic-y stuff that feels very Scavenger's Reign.
Yeah.
That is what sold me though. I saw it because I remember Connor was talking about it, and I was like, I keep seeing that on Max.
Yep.
So I watched a trailer and I was like, oh, it's Mike Judge. Okay. I was like, maybe. So I kind of like put it on my watch list, but I was like, eh. But then I saw that it was by the guy that did Scavenger's Reign. I was like, I'm watching that right now.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Mike Judge and Greg Daniels.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, I don't know. Those 2 did King of the Hill, but Greg Daniels is like The Office, Parks and Rec.
Right. Yeah.
And King of the Hill. So yeah, a couple of heavy hitters.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of how how Mike Judge he's basically just doing Hank Hill for Rick.
He even kind of looks like him.
This is alternate universe Hank Hill, basically.
If Hank Hill became like Elon Musk or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. We'll save it.
Yeah. Okay. So, another movie for next week. Another one. And that movie. Let me pull out. That movie is gonna be. Oh my god, I can't fucking open. A movie from 1962, directed by Yasujiro Ozu, An Autumn Afternoon.
Okay.
This is a director who has a lot of like classic movies that I've just never checked out. He's the other guy, like Kurosawa. I feel like I always hear them kind of mentioned side by side.
Okay.
His most famous one is Tokyo Story, and it feels a little weird to not be doing Tokyo Story as like our first Ozu movie. But An Autumn Afternoon is I think pretty well known too. So
okay,
yeah. It's another. Well, I guess another. Yeah, kind of as far as I understand, he's a very slow. So it'll be maybe another cozy movie like True Stories.
Okay.
I don't know.
This is his last movie.
Is it really?
He died a year after this movie.
Oh. Luigi,
Interesting.
did you wake her up? I don't. It might be picked up on my microphone. I don't know if you could hear it, but like, I've just been hearing.
Oh.
Like the whole episode. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that. Maybe that's why I put that on here, because when there's like directors that I'm not familiar with, I'll do like, or even ones that I am familiar with, I'll pick like their most famous one or like their first or last movie. So maybe that's why I threw this one in there. I don't know. But okay, all right, cool. Interesting. That'll be fun to check out. Always been meaning to see this guy's stuff. If you don't want to be spoiled for An Autumn Afternoon before the next episode, watch it. Duh. These episodes come out on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. EST on YouTube in video form, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And with all that said, this isn't completely untrue. I'm 6'3", and I have my body's the consistency of a panda bear. maybe a slightly skinnier panda bear, but and with me as always.
As always, I have something to say about the difference between American and European cities, but I've forgotten what it is.
Oh.
I have it written down at home somewhere.
That was another good one, yeah.
And I am Nick.
And
there's something going on in Virgil, Texas.